Welcome, everyone, to the Everything Show, episode 560. I am your host, Matrix Lloyd 212, and I'm with Chris. What's up, Chris?
Hello, everybody.
What's up, cousin
Hello.
Joey?
Hello. Good to finally make it on.
All right. What's up, Ray? Oh, now we lost Ray. Look at this. What's up, Scott?
Hopefully I'm still here by the end of the show.
All right. Ray, you back?
Yeah, I got kicked out that time.
All right. So we're going to get started. Joe,
Yes.
what did you think of Star Wars Force Awakens?
I've been watching a lot of people talking about it online and everything. I've heard a lot of criticism. I enjoyed it. I went to see it once in regular 2D,
Right.
and then I went back and saw it in 3D, which I didn't think was necessary. I just felt like disoriented.
Yeah.
I haven't seen many movies in 3D, but I mean, there's a lot we could say about it. I mean, people have been talking about it so much, but I'm not sure what I can add. But it brought back the fun again from when we were kids. I mean, the story, a lot of the movies, follow the same storylines and stuff, but I don't know if this one did any more than other, sci-fi throwback movies, but there's a lot of similarities to the first movie and whatnot.
Did you enjoy this more than the prequels?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I was excited. I remember when the sequels came out, I was real excited. And I think that last one, when you saw Vader, when you saw Hayden Christensen?
Yeah.
Actually becoming Vader. I mean, it felt like Lucas forced the storyline, even though it was 3 movies. It felt like the little boy turned into a teenager, turned into a young man, and all of a sudden he's this big, imposing Darth Vader. It seemed like it was rushed, But
I think that something was missing because the people that worked on Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi weren't really with him with the prequels, and he was just free reign without being told. Like everybody yesed him to death. Like me and Chris were talking about the other day, and he didn't have anybody say, "Hey, this sucks,"
Right.
And like, don't put Jar Jar in there. He sucks, and like
that was rough.
just went and did this crazy stuff, and some of the dialogue was just antiquated. Like, I mean, like the use of the words younglings, like they're trying to trick the mind, like instead of saying kids.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like he's killing kids. I mean, that's basically, and I never envisioned when I was a kid that he was killing like children and stuff like that. I would think it would be like, I had a different mindset of what I thought, how he became that way, and I didn't think it was because of love and all this, gushy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh my God. And then I know that, George Lucas is a fan of like Frankenstein and stuff, so he tried to do like the thing where he's coming out, and like, no, like whatever. But it was like, we waited for how many years to see Star Wars movies, and we're dying to see Darth Vader, and we get him for seconds.
Yeah, true.
Like 30 seconds. I think it was the biggest stab in the back to fans. Because they could have did something where he was just Darth Vader in a whole movie, leading right into it, and we didn't get that.
Yeah.
So,
for years I thought about, again, I don't know how original this idea is, but isn't it weird that Lucas created those first, 3 movies, looking at the first one mostly, out of very little technology.
Right.
And those movies were the ones that really moved us the most and made this huge impact in culture. And the storyline being that if you lose touch with your humanity, you rely on technology too much, and you become more of a machine than a man or human. That's really the kind of the moral of the story. And yet, when Lucas had free reign and all the technology to do the prequels, it just seemed like he became almost, art or life imitating art. Right. He just saturated those 3 movies with so much technology and eye candy. To me, that just was so much of a distraction. So that's kind of where I feel mostly about the prequels. But there were good moments. But
yeah, there was great moments. Like, I never envisioned Yoda to fight the Emperor.
No,
I like that. But then I thought that the Jedi battle with Darth Maul and Qui-Gon Jinn and Ben Kenobi in Phantom Menace was like the best Jedi battle I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was
but then I thought the worst Jedi battle I've ever seen was Count Dooku versus Anakin and Ben Kenobi. I'm like,
Christopher Lee.
like what is? I mean, I love Christopher Lee. Don't get me wrong, and I
Yeah.
understand they call him Count Dooku because of Count Dracula, and
Mhm.
as like a nod to him, because
Yeah,
George
yeah, yeah.
Lucas was a fan. But I mean, they could have did something different. I wouldn't even had Anakin fight Dooku. I would have had something else and do something else, and but what are you gonna do? But so now we have Star Wars. Well, Star Wars basically done over $2 billion worldwide.
Wow, I haven't checked in like the past week or so,
I
but
mean,
yeah, he's heading.
I think it's at 2,012,000,000,
Wow.
and it's still. I mean, now that Deadpool's out, I think it's kind of going to start dying down now because everybody wants to see Deadpool. We having a new Star Wars movie this December, the Rogue One, which is going to be really big, and Darth Vader is the main. Right, Chris? He's the main villain of the movie.
Darth Vader. Yeah, they're saying that he's gonna be the role of the main villain. So
Really?
yeah,
Yeah.
him and possibly Boba Fett too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because Chris wants him like that book he was reading.
Yeah, Chris,
Yes,
you want
I
to explain to Joe the like how they're gonna make him like
Sure.
move around? Yeah.
Well, you probably already know, Joe, that when Disney bought Star Wars, they made all the expanded universe stuff non-canon,
Non-canon.
so they're making a whole new canon, and they said that the only things that are canon now are the 7 movies with 8 and 9, any movies Disney makes, and any books that they put out. So anything Disney makes is canon, anything else is not canon.
Wow.
So they made this one book. Yeah, they made this one book. They wrote this one called Lords of the Sith, which I listen to because I commute every day to school. So I was listening to this every day, and it was basically the story was about Darth Vader and the Emperor someone tries to assassinate them. And they get trapped on this alien planet, and they don't have any of the other parts of the Empire to help them, and they're trying to survive on this planet. And the big highlight of the book was you got to see Vader basically at his full power. And they described what he was like. They described the things that he was doing that we never got to see in like 4, 5, and 6.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying that Vader is going to be very close to what he was in this book in Rogue One. And if that's true, he's going to have unbelievable scenes in the movie. Cause,
it's probably going to shock us because then maybe he was being soft on Luke because that was his kid.
Yeah.
It's like going slow. I mean, like if he's going to be running around in the suit and leaping.
Well, I'll give you an example. This isn't really a spoiler, but there's a scene in the book where they describe some of the assassins are on board a crashing Star Destroyer. And Vader was trying to get off the Star Destroyer, but when he saw them, he stops and he turns and he goes to fight them, right? He pulls out his lightsaber, and there's like 2 or 3 guys shooting at him, and these are all like expert marksmen and stuff. And he's blocking all of their hits, and he starts running towards them. And nothing that they do stops him. And he gets within like an inch of killing them, and they're like, that's it, we're out of here. And they just run away. And then it's like they get away, they get off the ship, and they're like, all right, well, we're away from him, right? And then the pilot's like, guys, he's following us. And he gets on a ship, and he's following them as the Star Destroyer is crashing, and it's an unbelievable scene in this book, and my jaw hit the floor. Like I'm driving there, and I'm just like, this is the greatest thing I think Vader's ever done.
Wow.
Now James Earl Jones returns as the voice.
Really? Oh wow.
And isn't there a big scene in Rogue One? Is that a dismemberment thing happening or not?
Oh yeah, they're saying that we might see why Vader tells Boba Fett not to disintegrate anybody in Episode 5, because apparently he's going to disintegrate somebody in this movie.
Wow.
Oh, so that's like a joke.
Yeah.
I don't know how I missed. I've been reading a lot about what Disney's planning to do and all, but I somehow it escaped me that this was even involving Darth Vader at all. I didn't think it had anything to do with it. Was the Disney?
It's like a prequel, but it's how long before Star Wars? Like a year or?
I'm hearing that it's either going to end right where Episode 4 begins, or it's going to end a couple of months before Episode 4.
Oh,
Like
nice.
Star Wars, The New Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So apparently they're saying that if they want to do sequels with this one, they might change that, but I doubt it because I think the movie's done. Like, I think they're pretty much done with everything.
But I'll tell you right now, the moment it goes, people go crazy with Darth Vader, they're gonna have to do something, other adventures with Darth Vader, like an actual Darth Vader movie. I mean, you know.
Hopefully improve on that.
Yeah. You can't get enough of Darth Vader.
Well, the Vader comic is doing very well too.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I would love to see a movie where Darth Vader goes after all the Jedi that Yoda warned not to come back, because when Star Wars starts, there's no Jedi left but Ben Kenobi on Tatooine and Yoda on Dagobah, and that's it. So it's the Emperor and Vader and Ben Kenobi and Yoda. But everybody else that fleed, he supposedly hunted down each and every one of them and kills them. And that is like a whole bunch of movies waiting to happen, I think. So that would be exciting.
Seems like Disney's gonna milk it for all they can get.
Yeah.
You know, I hope they don't kill it. You know.
Well, they
But
spent
there's a lot of
$4.5 billion for the franchise. So it's going to be on long after I'm dead, and my great grandkids are going to be watching Star Wars movies. I mean, that's same thing like the Marvel movies. They could always make reboots of different Avengers and whatever.
Or reboots of those till.
Like Disney bought the Muppets. They bought everything.
Right.
Yeah. So we were also talking about. Are you a fan of Transformers?
I couldn't say. I not since I'm a kid, so I haven't followed. I haven't seen.
You haven't
any of
watched the movies, right?
I saw pieces of one while I was doing laundry one day, so no.
What about the Marvel films, like Avengers, stuff like that?
I saw the first Avengers, thought it was great. I saw the first couple Iron Man were great, but again, it feels like they're just pumping them out, you know, so quickly.
Eventually, it's going to be overkill. Yeah, it's going to be saturating the market where people are going to get tired of it.
Well,
I think. Yeah.
Did you guys already have a show speaking about, you know, what everybody's opinion was on the Force Awakens?
We done countless.
Okay.
Yeah.
In a few weeks.
But you can talk about it if you want a little more. I mean, it's up to you.
Well, I was just curious what everybody else had to say, but I can always.
I actually loved it because I loved how I really like the new characters a lot. I like Finn. I like Poe Dameron. I like Rey. I like Kylo Ren. I thought was perfect. The people are like, oh, he's not like Darth Vader. Listen, he was the most realistic character I've ever seen. Because,
I really liked him a lot. Yeah.
You know, it's like real life. Like, he's got his parents. They never told him about his grandfather. They kept that from him. And he's kind of like trying to fit in. Like, I mean, it's a huge strain that his uncle is the headmaster of the Jedi training everybody. And he's got to, like, be the best there is because that's his uncle, you know? So maybe he's having a problem becoming a Jedi and fitting in, and then he meets this guy Snoke or whatever that gives him a bad influence and say, oh, well, don't you want to be like your grandfather? And I didn't know my grandfather was this. And the next thing you know, he can relate to that. And he wants to be evil because he thinks that's, like, I mean, the good and evil thing, to him, evil is not evil. That's just, you know, whatever. It's just, you know, it's just a word, but that's what he needs to be, take over everything, you know? So it's like the reverse.
Do you think they could have added a little more backstory to say, you know, what really went on, or you think we'll get that in the next couple?
No, we're definitely. I think that they couldn't put all that stuff in one movie, and that we're definitely getting that in the next two.
I think we're going to see a lot in Bloodlines too, because that book is they're writing another book. I think it's coming out in April or May of this year. It's called Star Wars Bloodlines, and it's going to be about Leia establishing the New Republic, and apparently it takes place 6 years before The Force Awakens. So Ben Solo would have already been born, and he would have been a Jedi already. So, or a Padawan, I should say. So I think we're going to get some backstory there.
I know how it should have ended. They did a very unique. You need to watch the entire end. It was a perfect ending thing to that. How it should have ended to Force Awakens.
Yeah. I still gotta watch that. Yeah.
I miss
Those funny
what he
how they
said.
should end.
What's that? What's that, Joe?
How they should end. How this movie or that movie should end. How they should have ended. That
They have
little-
a segment. They have these videos sometimes where like people write it how they wanted the movie to end.
Okay. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Somebody just put that up on YouTube like yesterday or today, I think, right?
Something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Mm.
Oh,
Did you-
it was funny. Oh,
Did you watch it?
I didn't see it yet, but I gotta
Yeah,
watch it.
because there's rumours going around, like Chris was saying on the previous cast, that Han Solo scripted his own death.
Oh yeah, there's that. Yeah, the rumor, right, Chris? That why don't you talk about that?
Well, I don't buy this at all, but I mean it's something to think about. The idea is that Han Solo had he knew he was going to die. They said that he knew he was going to die there, and that's why when Ren says, "Will you help me?" he says anything. He says he'll do implying he'll do anything to help him. And they said if you notice when Han Solo grabs Ren's lightsaber, he grabs the part where the button would be to activate the blade. And they said that might be why he didn't react too much when the blade went through him. Only his face, he was in pain, but that was the only thing that he reacted to. The reason I don't buy that is because there's a part where Ren pushes the blade further into him.
Yeah.
And then pushes him off when he deactivates the blade.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's interesting to think about.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that Chewbacca spared him though, because he's a good shot and he probably raised the kid. Yeah.
Oh, you think it was on purpose that he didn't?
I think it was on purpose that he didn't kill him. Yeah, because again, he raised them as much as Leia and Han did.
There's some really good art depictions that I keep seeing on Facebook where it shows Han Solo handing Chewbacca Ben when he was a baby, and Chewbacca's holding him, and it shows them they're growing up together, and then it's really heartbreaking because at the end of the art, kind of the panel, you see Solo gets stabbed, and then Chewbacca's about to shoot Ren in the head, and then he looks down, and then he you see Chewbacca's I can't do it. And
yeah, he moves down.
Yeah.
See,
Too much
again,
respect.
without that backstory, I would have never known, that he was even around him. But I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, Chewbacca was they didn't see him as an animal. He's like family, so it's
Oh yeah. Did you guys pick up on the a lot of people were criticizing when Chewbacca gets off the Millennium Falcon and returns to where Leia is, and Leia realizes Han is dead, and instead of Leia and Chewbacca embracing or at least acknowledging how sad it is that Han died, Chewbacca just walks right past her, and she just goes toward Daisy Ridley's character. Did you notice that?
That was interesting. Yeah. It makes you wonder that maybe that is Luke's daughter. I mean,
in other words, that's why Leia felt so emotional in seeing her. You mean?
I mean, I honestly think that they know what she don't. That they're related. But
why didn't Chewbacca and Leia a lot of people were feeling like there could have been at least an acknowledgement, geez, we just lost, Han Solo.
I think that was a movie. I don't think that there was anything. I mean, I might be wrong, but I don't think that there was anything crazy. I think they just said they just got back from being on this mission and stuff, and Finn was hurt. Chewbacca was carrying Finn to that medical platform there. I'm hearing too that Episode 8 might have a funeral kind of thing for Han Solo, and that makes sense because they said that Lando might be in the next one, and what better way to kind of show Lando coming back into the story than going to Han's funeral,
right?
And being of course I'd be here,
Do you think? I'm sorry, Joe. You think those scenes were already filmed with Harrison Ford?
Yeah.
You think he was I'll do one movie, get all the footage you need, and I'm never doing this again? You think he got his way, man? No.
I think that's why he was so happy with this movie, because if you notice, in some of the interviews, he's really happy with this movie. He loves this movie. I think it's because they killed him off.
It was a shock that he even got involved at all.
We talked about this years ago. We in 2012, we were talking videos that he would not sign unless they killed his character off.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened.
Well, now he's got time to film Indiana Jones.
Well, I don't know how that's going to be, but as long as they do it justice compared to the last Indiana Jones movie.
Yes.
I didn't like
That
the
last one
last.
it was one of those that started off good
The
and then
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Yeah,
I still haven't gotten to check that one out.
that's oh my god.
Crystal Skulls.
It doesn't make sense when you bring space and aliens into Indiana Jones. It's just I don't. It doesn't make any sense. It's not the X-Files or anything. It's like weird. So
When they're talking about doing I know they were doing like a sort of a prequel with the younger Indy, but Harrison Ford is signed on to do it.
Harrison Ford is supposedly originally Shia LaBeouf was supposed to be, but he badmouthed everybody, and Harrison Ford made a comment like, and Steven Spielberg like, he's never gonna be, ever, Indiana Jones. In fact, he got Harrison Ford to like get fit and work out because he's like, I'm gonna do everything I can to be fit enough at age 70 something to be Indiana Jones rather than this punk.
You're talking about and all this as well on Facebook.
What's that?
They were talking about how they're getting this actor and this actor to play all these old parts, and they came out with like, someone said, well, what about Lucy Lawless and the gal that played Gabrielle? Why don't they just get them? Because they still looks great. Yeah.
Right. Well, he's not only doing Indiana Jones, he's doing Blade Runner 2.
Is he really?
Yeah. That's like, wow, man.
I left work today. I didn't get a chance to read it all.
I didn't even see him in the Expendables yet, too, because I heard he was like working on for that too when he was in that. So that's,
right.
Well, it's funny that you brought up Harrison Ford because I'm hearing that the auditions for the Han Solo movie for young Han Solo are down to 2 actors.
And is he a part of that, like viewing it? Or? No.
No. He said he doesn't want to be a part of that movie.
Right. No, I'm not that he's a part of it, but would he be a part of watching the auditions?
I don't think so.
Probably
No.
not.
Do we know who the 2 actors are?
Yeah, I don't know their names, but I'm actually glad it's these 2 because some of the names that they were throwing around were kind of ridiculous. But these 2 guys, I can see them being young Han Solo.
They look like him?
Yeah, they look like him.
Do they sound like him, though?
I don't know if they sound like him, because I don't know if I've ever seen these 2 actors before, but I know that a while ago they were saying that the kid from Kingsman was going to be Han Solo.
Yes.
And then I don't think he's one of the 2 finalists, quote unquote, that they're looking at right now.
And that's going to be another movie independent of the new trilogy, right? The Harrison.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the anthology films. Those are also canon as well. Yeah.
The Boba Fett movie, a Han Solo movie, the Rogue One. Isn't there a Ben Kenobi, or they?
The rumor is that Ewan McGregor might come back as Obi-Wan for a anthology film, and possibly he might be in episodes 8 or 9 as a Force ghost.
As a ghost, yeah. Isn't Hayden Christensen definitely in it too?
The rumor is that for some reason he was training the way that the actors who are Jedi train to, and because he was going to be in 7. They had a concept art where his Force ghost, like I've said this before, his Force ghost was going to be, half of his face was going to be Anakin and the other half was going to be Vader's mask. And they cut that. They cut that from the movie. They never put it in. And also it's confirmed, too, that Yoda, his Force ghost, was definitely in Episode 7, but they cut the scene that he was in.
Was he talking to Rey, or was he?
He was talking to Luke. Apparently, the movie was going to end with you see him and Luke talking. Then Rey comes up and he fades away, and then Luke turns around.
Oh.
Because they said Frank Oz came in and did voice work for the scene.
That might have been more powerful, though.
Yeah.
To have Yoda in it, and like he's talking to Yoda.
They kept his voice in the movie, though, because that's the first thing that Rey hears when she picks up the lightsaber is Yoda's voice.
And then they mix it in. They mix it in with Ewan McGregor and even an old clip of
Alec Guinness, right?
Alec Guinness, right? They mixed all those voices together. Not something you pick up.
The last things you hear before she gets out of the flashback / flash forward is these are her first steps, and that was Ewan McGregor saying that. He came in to say that.
That's
Wow.
cool. So Disney's not going to allow the negative press and all the people that supposedly hate the prequels. They're not going to allow that to discourage them from using some of the actors. From what you
No,
guys are
I
saying,
don't.
no.
I don't think so.
Should. I mean,
They
I
don't.
know that they said that they're trying to. They're not going to mention the whole midichlorian thing.
Thank
That's
God.
one thing
Oh.
they're definitely staying away from, which I
That's-
think is a great thing.
Politics? Too much politics? Is that the midichlorian thing?
No, midichlorians, the symbionts that with the Force, from the prequels, the explanation with little Anakin and Qui-Gon.
Oh. Okay.
That stupid thing with the Geiger, and they remember they like, oh, he's got this percentage of midichlorians for the Force. That was too confusing and too stupid.
When they were gauging who's gonna be like the next kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
remember like when little Anakin's like, Master Qui-Gon, what's midichlorians? And he's like, well, midichlorians are, he starts going on this crazy definition how they're one with the Force, with us. It's like a symbiont that, so it was ridiculous because that's
That went over my
never.
head.
That was in Phantom Menace.
Okay.
They have that.
Yeah,
scene.
basically, George Lucas, he didn't want the Force to be like a spiritual thing, so he tried to make it like it was like a scientific, like, there's things in your body that let you sense the Force, and it's
But
like,
that kind of contradicts what originally was in the first place. It was like a spiritual thing.
yeah.
They did away with that, Disney, and it's back to what it
Well,
was.
I think that's what they're going for again. I think they're trying to establish that it's supposed to be like a spiritual,
Yeah.
kind of Eastern religion kind of Force.
The Joseph Campbell influence stuff that Lucas talks about in a lot of interviews I've seen. You guys familiar with that Joseph Campbell guy?
Who's that?
Joseph Campbell, he died probably 20 years ago, but he was he was from the United States, but he studied the Eastern religions, comparative religions,
Okay.
mythology, folklore. His big book was called The Hero with 1,000 Faces.
Right.
And that was a huge influence on Lucas, and Lucas became almost like a protege for this guy Joseph Campbell. And there's I'm surprised you guys haven't heard much about this, but there's a popular PBS series that you could still watch called The Power of Myth, and it was filmed on Skywalker Ranch when
wow.
yeah, and Campbell was like a teacher to Lucas, and said that after he completed the first film, he told Lucas that you created the new myth for a new generation. And
Wow.
but Lucas,
That's awesome.
yeah, if you I read the book Hero with 1,000 Faces, and it's it's not the easiest read, but it was one of those things where it's all of these different stories through all these different cultures all over the world, and how they have a common thread of the hero's journey. And that's what Lucas has used a lot, in these movies. And there's a documentary I've been watching a lot since I saw The Force Awakens. I've been like obsessed, and I've been watching. There's a documentary. It's called Star Wars: The Legacy Revealed. I think that's the one, and it's on YouTube, and it's like a good 2 hours. And they go a lot into this whole Eastern religion, Eastern mythology, folklore that Lucas purposely infused into his storytelling. And he tried not to narrow it down to any one thing in particular, but a lot of the common themes where you almost feel like the young Anakin was like almost the new Dalai Lama, like they saw the Buddha in the young Anakin. You had that Eastern feel. And Lucas was very much a student of this Joseph Campbell. It's really interesting stuff to kind of keep you occupied while waiting for the next movies to come out. This backstory on how Lucas wrote those first 3 films is really interesting stuff.
I gotta check that out.
That makes me wonder, like, why even more he tried to introduce this, like, here's a science version of what's going on. Actually, it's nothing to do with that. It's these things in your body that's why you can feel the Force. It's like, why? Like, what the hell?
I mean, do you think?
I'll leave a link to those down below.
There you go. You found it on. When you speak, is that Scott with the hat?
That's me.
I think you and I are a little archaic in our video feed because sometimes you break up and the image is staggering a little and the audio, but I can understand most of what you're saying.
Because I keep getting booted when I use my computer.
Oh, you're on your phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, it would be more like this opposed to like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because something's wrong with Google sometimes with the updates and stuff like that.
I
Now-
jinxed it.
Now, Joey, in your background, is that a
Yeah.
picture of like Bela Lugosi?
Oh yeah.
Draka?
It's a little drawing.
You gotta
Yeah,
meet my friend Tommy because he handmade like these. He has this whole horror museum in his house that it looks exactly like Bela Lugosi. He's got Frankenstein, Boris Karloff, all this stuff.
What do you
I
mean,
got-
action figures?
No,
And made
actual
stuff.
life-size.
Life size?
Yeah.
Yes.
He was on a cast a few weeks back, weren't he, Joe?
He's been on a couple of
Wow.
times.
Mm.
Yeah, and I tell you, you cannot tell the difference between like seeing it on TV and seeing it in his house. I mean, he really has attention to detail. I was trying to get him in now, but I don't know if he's around.
I remember that. I remember
Yeah.
because we were all like, oh, do you do this for a living? And he was like, no, I was a
Yeah.
cop. And we were
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. Like,
Yeah, he's a cop. Yeah, but yeah, I
Did
gotta
he-
let me see if I can get his stuff and I'll share it.
Did he
Oh,
say
Yeah,
what,
good
It was
what does he
awesome.
make them out of? What
What's
does he
that?
make them out of? Did he say what he makes them out of? What kind of material?
I'm not sure. Let me try to get his photos. I think he'd appreciate it if we just screen share his stuff.
Yeah,
Hold
because
on.
doesn't he put a lot of stuff on his Instagram?
Yes.
And
Of the
Facebook.
stuff. Yeah.
All right, you know what? I'll do this. Wait, let me see.
He is awesome, though.
I remember you guys were having a field day when you did that.
Oh
horror
my
thing.
God!
That
He
was
wants
We
fantastic.
did.
He wants me to film in his house.
He wanted Joe to do an odd transcript or something. Look.
Oh man, I love those.
You see
now,
that?
can I click? Okay, here you go.
Yeah.
You see that?
Wolfman.
Look at Frankenstein, man. Let me see if he got.
Holy
Hold on,
crap.
wait. Oh no, wait. That's just. Hold on. Say.
As I said, this is my first time doing this group video chat.
That's
Can I
coming.
click on any of the?
Blackula. Let me get Hold on.
No,
let me-
you know what it is, Joey. When one of us starts talking,
Yeah.
the perspective switch, like you know, the perspective switches to one of us. So actually, Ray, Scott, and I, we can mute ourselves, and then why don't we do that right now? Scott, Ray, mute yourselves with me, and so that they can see the pictures.
I'm gonna try to get the. I'm gonna try to get the album. Hold on. So I could show.
And how are you guys muting? Because I'm missing.
Oh no, you don't have to mute yourself, Joey. Just the three of us can, so it doesn't switch to us.
All right. I'm just curious. I don't have a toolbar of any kind. Like once
On the top of your screen, you should have one.
I did when I was adjusting the microphone earlier. I did, but now I have like full screen.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. My mouse isn't doing anything. That's all right.
Let me see if you can see this. Hold on. You see that?
No, I'm just seeing. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Is that the same Frankenstein we saw like when he was still working on it? Wow. Look at that. Holy crap. And does he set these up on his front lawn for Halloween or something?
No, in his house he has a whole.
Wow, that looks really great. Look at that. That really looks
Look at
impressive.
that.
Oh. Yeah. I wonder if he's taking a mannequin and working on top of it or just from scratch.
That's just that. I don't know, man. I mean, we got to go there one day. Maybe you and I will just go see him.
Wow.
But it's just amazing how he did this.
Wow,
Some
that
he
looks
had,
good.
some he had made, and some he did himself, and it's ridiculous. Let me just get the other ones. Hold on. Like he's got. Hold on a second. 1 second. I want to get. He's got vampire ones. He's got. Hold on.
I've been interested in those Universal monsters since I'm a kid, and I think that's something they keep rebooting, and they keep coming out with new action figures, and somebody else does a series and whatnot. So I've lost touch with it. But
Yeah, let me see.
Universal's actually doing a whole like universe for them. Like they're redoing Frankenstein, the Mummy, and they're gonna put them all in like the same kind of story.
you mean they're gonna do a movie?
Yeah, they're gonna do individual movies first, and then they're gonna do kind of like an Avengers thing where they're all in one movie eventually.
Wow, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Wow. So there you go. They're gonna take the cue from everybody else, from DC and Marvel
Yeah.
and Disney. So they're gonna do new individual Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, Mummy,
Yep.
and then meet up in a film. There you go.
I think they just cast Tom Cruise in the Mummy movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. I did read that. I had no
Yeah.
idea it had anything to do with Universal. Wow. That'd be interesting.
Do you see this?
Yeah, I'd see it now. Is that Anthony Hopkins? Is that Hannibal Lecter, you think, up top?
I think so.
He's got the scarecrow. Wow. Oh, he's got an Elvis bust down there. Yeah. Wow.
That's cool, right?
What's the two-headed one with the brown next to Frankenstein?
I don't know what that's from.
Wow. So he's not just a guy that is working with like prosthetics because he likes creating this stuff. He also gets them made for him
Yeah.
just to decorate his house with it.
Yeah, he has a whole. I mean, let me just get more stuff because
You don't have
He's
to go
got-
crazy.
No. I wanted to get him on, but I think he's busy. But he's got. Here, let me just get this one too. Hold on.
And I'll look into it more, after we're off.
Yeah, let me just get this. See those? They got Freddy Krueger.
Wow, this guy's done a lot of work, huh?
Yeah.
That's the Lon Chaney Wolfman, right? I think it was.
Yes, I believe so. And then, oop, wait a minute. Did he beat me? Hold on. One second. Let me see if I got him.
That
Hold on.
bearded one there, that kind of looks like the guy from the Twilight Zone from The Howling Man.
Oh, I don't know if I remember. The Howling Man?
Yeah.
What was this episode about?
It was about this guy was traveling in the woods, I think in Europe. He gets lost and there's a really bad storm, and he long story short, he finds this castle and they're like, yeah, we'll let you stay the night, after trying to, like, at first they're like, no, you can't stay here, and they let him stay the night, and then he hears this guy like screaming and it sounds like howling. And the guy's like, please let me out. They've captured me and they won't let me out. And they're torturing me and they're starving me. And the guy, the bearded guy there, who I think that is, he tells the traveler, like, that's the devil. That man in that cell is the devil. And we captured him and we've trapped him in this castle and we're keeping watch on him. And the guy doesn't believe him and he lets the guy out, and it turns out it really is the devil.
Wow.
And then the story begins, though, with the traveler back in New York. He's captured the devil again, and he's locked him in his closet. And like he's telling the whole story to his maid for some reason. And then at the end, he's like, "I'm going to meet with the brothers there. They're going to take the devil back to the castle." And then the maid lets the devil out at the end of the episode. She lets him out of the closet, and it's like, damn it.
I would have remembered if I seen that one, man. That sounds.
It's a really good episode.
Wow.
I remember my grandfather showed it to me because it's his favorite episode of the Twilight Zone. And every time I see it now, I'm like, oh, it's the Howling Man.
Damn. You guys ever talk about Planet of the Apes much? I know it's a quick.
Oh, I can't wait for the new one, man.
subject.
Did you like the new ones or no?
I like the new ones. I still think the '68 Heston movie though is
Oh yeah,
the classic.
I love that.
I have to make a confession here. I've never seen any of the old ones.
Wow.
I have to check them out. I really do.
Well, the reason I brought it up is because of. See, I can't hear. Maybe he's still muted. Scott?
Oh, what did you say, Scott?
Was
The what?
He's breaking up. His internet connection's really bad tonight.
You know what, Scott? Is there a way to do the show without showing your picture maybe just shut the camera off and just talking, because then maybe you won't be breaking up. Maybe
Okay.
like if yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Yep.
I was saying the series which they had for a time was decent, odd but decent.
You're talking about the new films?
No, the old Planet of the Apes. They had a series. They had a live action series for a time, and
Yes.
it was peculiar at best.
They had at Hypnotronic Comics the Planet of the Apes playset. I think it was like a year ago they had it. I did a video on it. It's amazing.
Was it a throwback to the old Mego toys?
It was the old set.
Oh wow!
I have a video on it somewhere on my channel. Yeah, Tommy said he's going to try to come in a few minutes. He was in the middle of something, but he says I says we're showing off his pictures, and he says he's going to try. Let me see if I showed you guys this picture. Let me screen share this too. Hold on a second.
Yeah, Universal's got all this stuff lined up though for the next few years.
Wow.
And Tom Cruise is going to be in The Mummy, the IMDb says. They don't state who he's going to be. They just say it's in pre-production.
You see that?
Okay. Oh yeah, look at that. Bela Lugosi, Dracula. Wow. Damn.
That's amazing.
The reason I brought up the Planet of the Apes is because of the you were saying that you never saw the original '68, correct? The
Chris?
Yeah, I've never seen any of them actually.
Oh, they're fantastic. I love them.
Rod Serling from Twilight Zone, you know, the creator.
Oh yeah.
He was consulted to help rewrite the original script, so he gets writing credit on that 1968 Planet of the Apes original movie. So that's what made me think of it.
Wow, that guy was a genius too.
Yeah.
When it came to writing.
Oh man.
Man.
If you see that film, it's almost like one very long Twilight Zone episode. It's a mind blower. You gotta see it.
I gotta check them out now.
Oh, especially that first one. I mean, it's a classic. It's unbelievable.
Because like, unfortunately for me, like the first one I saw was the one with Mark Wahlberg,
oh no,
and I was like, why is this so popular? And
no. That was Tim Burton's reboot,
Yeah,
which I had huge expectations. I remember internet. I didn't think the internet was around that long, but I remember being at work trying to see if anybody was posting pictures of the Tim Burton sets and stuff, and they were. And it looked like Tim Burton was going to do a great job, but it just had a totally different feel.
I have a thing with that movie because unfortunately, the last night that my dad was alive, we were watching that movie, and he's like, "This sucks." And I was like, and he's like, "What a piece of crap!" And he's like, "It's nothing like the original," because I watched the original when I was little. And it's like he's got to watch that suck movie oh my god,
Oh man,
it was crazy, but he loved the original
yeah.
Planet of the Apes. He didn't like some of this new reboot garbage. God rest his soul.
I've got the novel Beneath the Planet of the Apes somewhere around here.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Now they got 2 more Planet of the Apes movies coming out. I guess it's the start of the war.
War of the Planet of the Apes is the next one, I think.
And then the other one would be, I guess, in the future when they
The
land.
War of the Planet of the Apes
Just
is
Planet
coming
of
out
the
next
Apes.
year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which
And then-
I never. The original movies, I think they made 4 or 5 of them, right?
5, I think, original, right?
Yeah.
I think it was.
I don't remember the war being that big part of the story. I mean,
they're going out. They're picking and choosing which ones they want.
The last
And they're
one's
going
going to
out of
actually
order.
be Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
So, like
Okay.
where it was the first one, it's going to be the last one.
so I think one of the first books was Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, and that film is about them just getting civilized enough where they're now going to start taking over. Maybe that's what the war is going to be.
Probably.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, at least we think it's going to be 2 movies. They could always make it 3, or they can make it more than what it is. It's like, But I guess supposedly that ape that died didn't die. The rival to Caesar.
Oh, Koba?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, supposedly he's still alive too. Supposedly.
How come nobody dies in movies anymore?
I
Like,
know,
you notice that? It's like, oh no, he's gonna come back. Like, come on.
Keeping the possibilities open.
Yeah.
Next they'll say he's regenerated into someone else.
Yeah. Because there's too much money to be made. That's why.
So how you doing with your music?
I'm doing good. I'm working in this the restaurant on Clove Lake, which is really is a nice change from the bar scene that I was doing for 20 something years.
Right.
So it's nice. I'm playing mainly dinner music, and but they want me there almost every night. Lately, I've been doing like 4 or 5 nights, which is a lot. But it doesn't leave much room for creativity as far as music goes. But when I get a breather every now and again, I'll sit down and try to be excited about it again and write a song or two. But that happens every once in a blue moon.
Yeah, something could happen that could just spur your motivation to like, oh my God, the whole day you're writing. I mean, me too. Like I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, there'll be times I'm not writing at all for a while, and then I could be on the bus and did something, boom, and I'm on my iPhone, and I'm like, the hour and a half that it takes me on this one bus, I'm like writing out of the blue. And I'm like, and it's always a joke on Facebook. It's like, new book, and be like, oh, which book is this now? Meanwhile, I got like how many manuscripts on my computer that I didn't even publish yet. So it's like people just like after a while, it's like you say that every week. It's like a new book or something, but it's literally there's a lot of manuscripts in here that I just sometimes I'm writing horror, which I haven't even published either. Sometimes I'm writing poetry. Sometimes I'm writing sci-fi. I'm all over the place. So now this new thing like they want me to do articles for a magazine. And then Tommy wants to help him with a screenplay, that he wants to talk about years being a cop. So that's another thing. You guys there?
We're still here.
Oh, okay.
I'm still there.
I thought you froze for a second.
Oh,
Joey froze. Joey froze. There you are. Okay.
Lost my connection.
Yeah. Yeah, so sometimes I'm writing horror, sometimes I'm writing poetry, sometimes
Gotta tell you, man, Google's on the move tonight.
It's all my fault.
Get us out of here, man.
It's because I said that Deadpool reference and it blew up.
There you go.
Talking of articles and that, did Joey see that one of you in the little art magazine?
Oh, I don't know. Did you see my magazine article that I was in?
No, it was just
it was in Jersey.
Yeah, the one you created.
Yeah, I had people listen to this. I unfortunately, you have the good and the bad. You have fans, and then you have haters. You got to take what you have. So people were hating on me because I was in a magazine. I don't know why, my enemies. But I was in this magazine showing off, and there's like Scott and Chris and Sally, and it's talking about my YouTube channel.
Oh, great.
And my shows, like we're doing the Everything Show now, it's in there. And it's also showing about my medical career that I'm in. I'm office manager of Vascular Epicenter. And I'm also, it doesn't talk about the thing with the mall because I think, I'm also a general manager of the mall that I'm in. But it also talks about my books. So it's like, it's just showing like all the different lives that I live.
Wow.
Like throughout the day. It's like ridiculous, yeah.
How'd that come to be?
Well, you know what it is? I'm there a couple of years now. Like, my job is in a mall. Okay. So, like, when the thing with the patients isn't busy, I'm the mall manager. Like, something happens or something like that. And the town of Gothenburg is basically a couple of blocks, but the town is up in the air. So they have these 3 huge towers, thousands of people. They had some baseball players that were living in there, rich people, and it connects to a mall. A couple of weeks ago, they were on the news because someone died in the elevator. The elevator employee, it was all over the news. I think you saw it a couple of weeks ago, like a week or two ago. But they have this mall that connects to these 3. And it's you would think in New York City, it's the only place that have big buildings, but in Jersey, it's like these big type of New York buildings high in the air. And even the mayor of the town lives in the building, in one of the towers. And so they have their own committee, politics and elections and boards. And I work for the board, the mall board. But it just, so somebody was just like, they're like, wow, you do books? you're in the medical field. I mean, like, we want to do a story on you. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, I was like, could you do it like on my birthday? Because it's like February 12th, yesterday. And they did it for just in time. So I was like, this is so cool. Because usually I'm in the newspaper for my books, but I was glad that finally this covered, my YouTube channel and my friends here. So
Excellent.
How
long have you been doing this?
I think after Hurricane Sandy, that like was ridiculous, and I got out of retail because like this, I wanted to change.
Lucky.
Yeah, and my friend worked for the doctor in the hospital, so I said I wanted to get in the medical field, and then I built myself up in the place, and I became office manager after a while.
Wow.
And then after that, I proved myself even more, and I became manager. So it's
of the mall.
Yeah, I mean, I really love it because there's a lot of wonderful people in there, and they're also a cast of characters themselves. That it's just always crazy stuff going on in there. It's very interesting, but to me, it's worth the trip. I mean, it's a lot to travel. I mean, I'm spending like so much money to get there that the profitability is not really there yet. But it's a good thing. It's like people would think I'm making so much money. No, because the commute is like I spend over $100 a week just to get there.
Oh man.
Yeah, but I mean it is enjoyable because like in the morning if I'm tired maybe I'll sleep on the bus. It's a long trip, or I'll write, and then there's like all the adventures begins when I get there, and then of course the commute going home is terrible because it's traffic and going through it. You're going from Jersey to New York to Staten Island, and it's like. So I don't even take the subway anymore or the ferry because all the work they're doing was getting me to work like really late. So I have to just, unfortunately, I have to spend the money and take express. But it's not even really express, even if it's express, because traffic will tell me New York. But I enjoy it, and I actually, I did one book when I in that time, and I haven't done my books as frequently, because there's a lot of things coming up now, and it's, I'm all over the place with the projects. I mean, I'm working a lot more hours than I did, so, the time to put another book out, it's like really hard, because when I come home, I do this, which, to me, this is a release. Like, I come home, and this is like the equivalent of sleeping. I mean, this is like relaxing to me. This soothes my mind. I'm like free, and I'm like with my friends, and we just talk and about stuff I enjoy, and this is very therapeutic, and if I'm not doing this, I'm usually writing, so I could be doing this, and then once this podcast is over, I could write 5 pages into the next book, and then I go to bed. I'm like a night owl, it's already 2 in the morning almost, and that's what happens. So, but I love my life now, and now that my girlfriend moved in too, Sharon.
Okay.
You met her, yeah. So
yeah.
So life is great.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Good.
And when we get married and everything's gonna be amazing. So I mean, that's it.
Good for you.
But that's the last few days he's been advertising his book because he's had to get Titans.
Yeah. Well, you know what happened? Somehow, like I made in New York City, one of the Barnes & Nobles is like the flagship, Fifth Avenue is like, the famous Fifth Avenue Barnes & Noble was like, it's a big.
Yeah.
So if they carry your book, odds are that word's going to spread. So once you get in New York, it's like, oh, of course, thank God, because before I was in bookstores before, but then when Borders went out of business, I got screwed, and then all the bookstores that carried my books went out of business except for Barnes & Noble. Barnes & Noble was the only one that didn't carry my books at first, but now slowly it started, and then I got shocked. I'm like, oh my God, it's in one store. I'm so happy and then it became 15 states.
Wow.
In a span of weeks.
Wow.
So I got a call today. I'm in Missouri. I'm like, okay, that's great.
Great.
I'm in 23 stores in Texas.
Wow.
I love Texas. All right.
Yeah, great.
I think in 2 weeks, or 3 weeks at Pensacola, Florida. I mean, it's just sporadic though. It's like certain places are starting to carry me, but then some people, like people are like, oh, why can't you be in Orlando, Florida? And I inquired about that. People just don't want me there. I don't know what it is. It's like weird. Some people want me in certain areas, and then some people are like, absolutely hell no. And it's like, whoa. It's like, you know. So it's just, but it's, I mean, the biggest thing was I hardly ever talked. I didn't want to mix the books with the YouTube channel because I felt like this is a separate entity. There, I'm Joseph J. Capriccioso, writer. This is supposed to be like Matrix Lord 212, like radio personality type, you know, having fun with this. Once in a while, I would do a video or two, you know? But I never tried to mix the thing. But people are like, why don't you just talk about it on, you know? So with this stir going on, I started doing, you know, I'll talk about Promised Dream, which everybody's just, for some reason, which I mean, I'm not trying to put myself down, but out of all the 11 books, they like this one. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying the other ones are failures, but this is actually, I'm going to have, probably in about a month, I'm actually going to show the sales for the past couple of months on this, because people want to actually see the tally, so I'm actually going to show that. But I'm very happy because if they carry this, then maybe they'll carry, you know, the next one, which is this one, you know, and I mean, that would be great. And maybe I'll have what I want, where all 11 books of mine will be in each store, which would be beautiful profitability-wise. So I get excited because I'm to me, I'm like a little kid, even though I just turned like 42, you know, a couple hours ago. But like, you know, which is a new day now, the 13th. But to me, it's like, I'm like, wow, you know, people want me to talk about the books, you know, because it's all different places. So when I told everybody, I said, look, if you're in the store that carries it, just take a picture of it just to show you're in Florida or you're in Texas or you're whatever, and put it all over Facebook, you know, public, so I can see. Because I'm blocked from seeing the real-time figures. Like, I only see from December 12th right now. And then as the week goes on, I'll see December 15th. And it's like 2 months behind, kind of. So if they sold like 150 copies like yesterday, I would have no idea until 2 months ahead, you know?
Right.
So the only numbers that I see 28 copies sold in December, you know, and I don't know if it's the full December, which, you know, that's great. But hopefully it continues, and, you know, we'll see.
I'm back, by the way. I got kicked out again.
Kicked out?
All right.
Schnoogle definitely hates all of us today.
Correct. All right. I know it's getting late, guys, so we're probably going to go. Thank you, Joey. I appreciate it. We're going to try to get you. You've been wonderful. I want to try to get you in when Tommy's here, so you could see all the different stuff he has. I'm sure you'll love it. Thank you, Chris, Ray, Scott. All right, guys. Take care. Bye for now.
Anakito.
Pleasure.
Oh wait, Joey, did you want to promote anything before we go? Where you're at, or no? You
can find me on YouTube, but spelling my name isn't easy.
Yeah. You want me to? I'll put a link into your on my video. Okay.
Yeah, why not?
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Joe.
See you later, cuz. Bye.
Bye.